Yeah, it was really electric. I think the fans, just their energy, them getting loud, cheering for us, it gives us a lot of energy on the bench, and on the ice it gives us, a little boost that we need. So it was electric and a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to come back here Sunday.
Just a quick question about the game. Very chippy out there, obviously. How do you respond and kind of stay your game
when it gets chippy like that, it's playoff hockey. That stuff's going to happen, but just making sure we don't get out of hand and guys take suspensions, penalties that are going to cost us, especially deep in a playoff run, power plays, penalty kills, that special teams that can win games. So just making sure we're kind of that robot mentality and we're not retaliating too much.
Yeah, was that the message kind of going into tonight?
Yeah, that's been our message kind of every year. Games get chippy, and we've been known to kind of let it get out of hand and maybe take some dumb penalties and stuff like that. So just trying to fix that and kind of be robots and just get to the bench.
Yeah, it kills your momentum going into the next period, I think. Scoring them is obviously huge. We feel great coming into the room. We're feeling good going into the next period, and I think the opposite way is, it really does crush a team when you're going in with a goal scored under a minute left. So it's huge for us to get those two. Really gives us the upper hand in the next period.
You had such a good scoring year, but as a defenseman, you think in the playoffs maybe it looks like you have the confidence you can keep scoring like you did.
Yeah, our job now is to win a hockey game however necessary, and if it's me scoring goals like that, or I'm sure, like I said, at another point it'll be somebody else coming up huge for us. So, whatever it takes to win is our team's mentality in there, and whoever's going to step up, we're happy for whoever it is, however we win.
We don't usually see you digging for pucks in front of the net there, but I think that's all over the spot, right? But you come out of the corner there, and how cool is that to kind of get like a forward style goal?
Yeah, coming on the power play against these guys, we knew they were going to come hard, so it was just kind of being positionless and finding open space, and now when I found the open space at the net and found the back of the net.
Did you view some of the stuff, the spraying of Elliott, the knocking over of Elliott, the hit from behind on Sim? Did you find there was some? I know there's playing hard, but do you think they went over the line? Was there some disrespect?
This is the playoffs. Everybody plays harder. It's a completely different style of game. Whatever happens, we're just going to play through it. We'll deal with it between the whistles, and not deal with it at the detriment of the team. But they can do that stuff. 6-1 score. We'll move on.
Yeah, you handled it well. You guys handled it.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we took care of what we needed to. It was a big thing we talked about was not getting done with penalties and buying into crap that other teams are going to start or anything like that. So I think we did a good job of that today.
Sam, can I just ask you, in a season like this, you started the year with a big winning streak, heavily favored all year long. How do you remain without getting complacent, and how did you make sure you guys were ready for game one, round one?
It's from the coaches. It's from Dale and Mark. They never let you be complacent. They always know that there's better and something else to chase for us. So we've never gotten complacent once. I think when you look through the year, it's been consistency, and it starts here today with game one, where it's a fresh slate for everybody. We're not looking at the one seed that we have or anything like that. We're just going in trying to win every single game, however necessary.
I just want to ask you, as you've matured in your junior career, I feel like you've come up with a lot more clutch goals. Can you really work on being clutch, or is that just something that comes with experience, especially playoff experience?
Yeah, I think it is a thing that comes from experience, knowing how to play in the playoffs and that kind of stuff. I think today it was knowing how goals go into the playoffs. It's always going to be around the net, kind of greasy ones. So, I was the one to find them today, and somebody else will be the one to find them in the next couple too. I know that.
The final thing I just want to ask you is, what is your time with the Knights meant to you, and what can you say about your time in the city of London?
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than Knights. There's nothing better than London. I couldn't be more grateful for my 3 years that I've had so far, and you look at the success that we've had as a team, and the improvements I've made as a player. It wouldn't be the same anywhere else. I wouldn't have had the enjoyment that I would being in London with the group of guys that we have. So it really has meant everything, and I have so much to give back for how much Dale and Mark and the Knights have given me.
Let me just ask you a fun question. I saw you talking about your dad didn't like the haircut. What about your mom?
She didn't mind it. She actually didn't mind it. She was more onto it than my dad, but I think my dad's growing on it. I'm about to go see him, so hopefully he doesn't dislike it too much, because I guess he's got to deal with it.
As long as you're scoring goals.